Welcome to Distressed to Joyful, Bailey's Way. I'm your host, Bailey Raber, here to enlighten you and the rest of the world about one of the most misunderstood mental health disorders out there, bipolar disorder. In each episode, we'll learn more about my personal journey with bipolar 2 disorder, how I've struggled with it, and how I've learned to overcome those struggles. Together, we'll laugh, we'll cry, and most importantly, we'll have fun. You'll leave each episode feeling hopeful and stocked full of useful information on how you can better yourself and the world around you. Hello, friends. Welcome to Season 4 of Distressed to Joyful, Bailey's Way. I am so excited. I'm so pumped. I'm so glad you're back and that you're here for another season. Y'all, 4 seasons. This is huge. This is huge. So you might not know this, but most podcasts don't make it past like a year or two because this is a lot of work and there's no money in it. First, I mean, I'm not making any money, but but I'm not doing it for that. I'm really not. But some people, that's what they set out to do, is to make money off a podcast. And they give up because they're not having an audience, they're not growing, they're not making money, whatever it might be. So this is a really big thing, guys, that I'm on Season 4. We haven't hit a full 3 years yet. We will mid-season. Yeah, sometime in this season. But I'm excited to be back and to be here and recording yet another season with a new theme and all that fun stuff for you guys. So there are a bunch of new exciting things in store for y'all this season, and we're going to go over those real quick. I'm so pumped. The first thing is a new mini-series. Oh my God. So y'all should know by now that I love to travel and that I've had the pleasure of doing a lot since the pandemic has let up. And so I tend to write blog posts about my experiences, but I know they can be pretty lengthy and some people don't like to read. They'd rather just hear it be read to them. I get that. That's why things like Audible exist, because people would rather listen to a book than read one. And y'all, life is crazy. Sometimes we have to drive a bunch. Sometimes we're cooking and we want to multitask. So no worries. I totally understand. That is why I've decided to create a mini-series called Travel Tales, which is going to be just kind of like wrapped up within this. Let me explain. Just hang on just a moment. So Travel Tales is where I'm going to recount all of the travel experiences I've had with you guys. So because these blog posts tend to be long and lengthy, I'm going to instead read them to y'all, But what's more, I'm not just going to sit there and like read it word for word because there's a lot of things that just aren't worth actually reading on a podcast. So instead, I'm going to recount my experiences and my stories and tell y'all about the things that I found really cool, the things I think you should go do if you visit these places, the things I wish I would have done, where I fucked up, the fun I had, all of it. All inclusive. They're all going to be there. I am so pumped and I can't wait to release these for y'all. So additionally, at the end of each episode, I will tell you what I learned about myself in relation to mental health from said travel experience. Because guys, as much fun as traveling is, it disrupts my routine. It just fucking disrupts it. And with bipolar disorder, having a routine is super important for me to stay balanced and leveled. And so I have learned a lot of things while traveling on what I can do to help keep myself balanced and level while traveling, while outside of my home, while outside of my normal routine. And guys, these things are so important because I love travel. I'm not going to give it up anytime soon. I will not give it up until I am bedridden and I can't go anywhere. But if I keep having meltdowns or explosions every time I travel, that's going to make the experience less fun and just not enjoyable for me or Monish or anybody else involved. That is why I think it's very important to talk about the things I learned about myself and my well-being and what I need when traveling, so that these are things that you can start to think about for yourself when you travel. Because self-awareness is one of the most important things that you can do for yourself. It really is. I have worked so hard at it, and I'm always working on it on a regular basis. And so I truly hope that while sharing these experiences is going to be a lot of fun, there's some crazy fucking stories that you're going to get to hear. But I hope that it'll be an opportunity for you to learn about yourself and learn and start to think differently. Think about, what do I need for myself? Start to ask yourself the questions that are necessary for when you travel, because having, a mental health disorder can be disruptive. It can fuck up our lives tremendously. I know from experience, but it doesn't always have to be that way. And if we learn how we can take care of ourselves and prevent those from happening, we can live our best, most fullest lives. And that is what I'm here to hopefully inspire and help y'all to do. So, in regards to Travel Tales, so it's going to be a mini series, meaning that all of the episodes are going to still be within Distress to Joyful Bailey's Way. You will find them there on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever the hell, but they're going to be titled differently. So they're literally going to start by saying Travel Tales #1 and then the title of that episode, and so on and so forth. So that's going to continue to happen. And I'm going to do this every other week. So this week, you get me right here, right now, episode 1 of season 4. So next week, you can expect to have the first Travel Tales episode come out. And then the next week after that will be a regular Distress to Joyful Bailey's Way, and then Travel Tales, and then bloop, 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 just like that. So flip, flop, flip, flop. That's what's going to happen. So I know it's totally different. I'm super excited. I hope that you guys enjoy this, and please, 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 please give me feedback. That is something that I need from you guys, because I do this for y'all. So if y'all hate Travel Tales, if nobody wants to listen to that bullshit, fucking tell me so I can stop it. I mean, I'll talk to myself if I need to, but if I'm sitting here in front of a microphone, I want to talk to you guys. I want to tell you guys what you want to hear about, not what you want to hear, because I'm not here to just, spoon feed you, but like whatever you want to hear about, I'm here for that. So please go to the contact page of the website if necessary to just tell me what you think. Give me your feedback. I want all of it, the raw, the honest, whatever it is. Another new thing for this season is I actually do, for real this time, plan to have guests on the show. Okay, so not right away. Let's take a pause for a second. You're not going to have a guest next week or the week after. But before season 4 is over, there will be guests on this show. And we're going to talk about that further here in just a minute. So I know I talked about this in season 2. If any of y'all listening now have listened to every single episode, first of all, thank you, best friend. I love you, best friend. You're amazing. But secondly, I'm sure you remember me saying that in season 2, and you're rolling your eyes like, oh my God, she's already said this once. Why does she think she's going to do this again now? It didn't work out the first time. Dude, I feel you. I hear you. I did fuck up in season 2. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know where to get guests from. I tried friends and family. That was a fucking fail. So what's really great about having guest starred, right? I think that's what I should say, guest starred on other people's podcasts, is that I have now learned how to do that. And I should have done those things before promising guests to you guys. So my sincere apologies for fucking up in season 2, but I do plan for real this time in season 4 to have guests before the year is over. I'm excited about that. Make sure that you are subscribed to Distress to Joyful Bailey's Way if you want to be on the show. Also, in the show notes, which you can find at whatisheybales.com. That's whatisheybales.com. If you head over to the website, find the show notes for this episode, there's going to be a link where you can sign up to receive email updates anytime I release a new episode, please sign up for that if you want to be a guest. So that way you will be one of the first people to know when I'm ready to take on guests. And if you want to be on the show, fill out the form. Let's have you here. Let's hear your story. I am open to this. I am going to get to this in just another second, but just know that this is going to happen this time around. So stay tuned on that. And if you are a returning listener, which once again, thank you very much, I'm sure you have realized that the cover art has changed once again, because it changes every year, because I change things with each season, because that's how I like to fucking do things. Seriously, I make up my own rules and this is what I do. So if you tuned into... oh, goodness. I believe it was season 3, episode 3, the changing of the seasons, where I talked about why I do that. If you haven't, I'm going to put the link in the show notes, so check that out and tune into it. But each season, what I do is I make a brand new outfit, and I have a theme, and they all kind of go together. So, for instance, last year, I made that beautiful red dress. I'm sure you remember the cover art with me wearing the red dress. And the big theme for last year was alcohol and addiction awareness. So I talked more about these things because this was what I wanted to focus on. Now, not every episode talked about them. And that's the thing, guys. When I do an overall theme, I'm not going to talk about my theme every single time. It's just within that season, there will be more of that same topic talked about over and over again, just in different ways, different forms, different things I've learned, different awareness pieces, whatever the case may be. So season 2 was blue for season 2. And I had that pretty little dress with the waterfall behind me. It was so much fun. I loved making that dress. And the theme for that year was more so like depression awareness and like, you know, the blues, sadness, that kind of stuff. Season 1 was green, which the color green is for bipolar awareness, in case you weren't aware. And so that is the whole reason why I did green. I made that beautiful dress. That was the very first time I met Daryl Williams of 713 Photo Focus. Shout out to you for being such an amazing photographer, guys. Just a side note, he is the official photographer for Distress to Joyful Bailey's Way, and he is getting better and better with each year. Super talented, super creative. I love working with him. If you're in the Houston area and need a photographer, go to my show notes so you can check him out on Instagram. He's amazing. He's your guy. So that's when we first met in 2020, right before everything went down, and we did green. Everything was green for bipolar awareness, because that's the whole reason why this got started, was my story, just telling everything. And I still talk about it every season. We still are talking about bipolar disorder, bipolar awareness. But your girl likes to switch things up. I don't need everything to be the same all the time. I'm sure you feel the same way. We all need something fresh. And it's also a great reason for me to make a new outfit and have a photo shoot, because why not? Why not? So the theme this time around for season 4 is how all of the things that break us are actually what allow us to blossom into the beautiful people that we are meant to be. So if you take a closer look at the cover art, you can also, again, go to the show notes. There'll be more photos in there for you to see. But the background and everything, all of that artwork behind me is broken pieces of pottery. It's things that people would have thrown away, trash basically, that was created into art and to sculptures at this park called Smither Park in the east side of Houston. It is so beautiful, guys. So beautiful that all of this stuff that would have been considered broken or trash or throwaway, when you combine it and you put it all together, it makes so much beauty. And that's our lives too. All of the things that broke us in the past, or, you know, have broken us time and time again, whatever it is, guys, these things that we think make us broken, they don't. They really don't. They help turn us into the beautiful humans that we become. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I firmly believe that, because if you've listened in time and time again, you know I've been through hell and back, and I have just come out stronger and stronger with each time around. Smither Park, let me tell you about that. So I went there for the first time, and I guess it was in November. And when I saw all of the beautiful artwork there, I was like, this is it. This is the theme. This is what we're doing. And the first thing actually that came to mind when I looked at everything was this Japanese art called, and I am totally going to butcher this, but it's called kintsugi. So sorry, I definitely mispronounced that. But let me tell you a little bit about this Japanese art form. And all of this that I'm about to say is quoted from an article that I found on mymodernmet.com. They go on to say that poetically translated to golden joinery, kintsugi or kintsugori is the centuries-old Japanese art of fixing broken pottery. Rather than rejoin ceramic pieces with a camouflage adhesive, the kintsugi technique employs a special tree sap lacquer dusted with powdered gold, silver, or platinum. Once completed, beautiful seams of gold glint in the conspicuous cracks of ceramic wares, giving a one-of-a-kind appearance to each repaired piece. This unique method celebrates each artifact's unique history by emphasizing its fractures and breaks instead of hiding or disguising them. In fact, kintsugi often makes the repaired piece even more beautiful than the original, revitalizing it with a new look and giving it a second life. That's a mic drop, y'all. Like, literally, that is exactly what I thought about when I saw all of this broken shit turned into such beautiful art. And it reminded me, like, you know what? Like, the things in our life that we think have broken us and turned us into broken humans, they're actually a chance for us to start over again in a very beautiful way. Because all of the shit that I went through, guys, I learned things. I learned some lessons, and I have taken those lessons that I've learned and shared them with you. No, seriously though, I've taken those lessons that I've learned and been able to prevent them from happening again. First of all, prevent the bad shit from happening again. Second of all, I've used it to be able to empower myself to become a better person in so many fucking ways. I mean, I talk about it constantly, nonstop on this podcast. There's so many episodes, so many things. And that is something too that I want you guys to understand, is that whatever you think is broken inside of you, it's not. It's part of you, and it's part of what makes you beautiful. Damn, that was so hard. It's part of what makes you beautiful. There was a time in my life when I thought that my bipolar disorder meant that I was broken, and it's far from the truth, y'all. My bipolar disorder is part of what makes me so creative, part of what makes me so smart and so fast and so witty, and it's part of who I am, and it's part of what makes me the beautiful person that I am today. And so just a reminder that whatever you think is broken inside of you, I need you to reconsider that. And I need you to keep listening to every episode that comes out, because we're going to dive more and more into these things and how they're just pieces of us that we just have to learn to utilize to help project us into the best life that we want to live. Looking for a way to support Distressed to Joyful Bailey's Way and your favorite podcast host, but unsure how? Well, friends, you can head on over to my Etsy shop, Bailey's Way Designs, to purchase an item handmade by yours truly. In my shop, you'll find cute and useful travel accessories, the comfiest workout headbands you've ever worn, adorable pet accessories, graphic t-shirts, and more. All of the proceeds from Bailey's Way Designs goes directly towards funding my college education, where I'm currently expanding my knowledge of fashion design. You can receive 15% off your first order of $35 or more by going to baileyswaydesigns.etsy.com and use code NEWCUSTOMER15. That's NEWCUSTOMER15. The link to my shop can also be found in the episode description and the show notes. Y'all, I truly appreciate all of your support, and I can't wait to hand pack and ship the items that you purchase from me. Once again, go to baileyswaydesigns.etsy.com and use code NEWCUSTOMER15 to receive 15% off your first purchase. So, let's go ahead and dive into today's episode, shall we? The title is You Are Not Alone. So, what does that even mean when people say this phrase, you are not alone? So my opinion is that it is a reminder that we are all human and that we all struggle in the same ways, whether or not we realize it. And that receiving a gentle message when we are struggling with something, that this struggle has also been felt by somebody else, this can give us a sense of ease. I mean, think about it. Has anything embarrassing ever happened to you? Like, have you ever laughed so hard that you peed your pants in public? Oh, no, just me? Okay, well, think back to a time when something embarrassing happened to you and someone near you saw and said, hey, no big deal, that's happened to me before. How did that make you feel? How did you feel after you tripped down a flight of stairs and everybody saw you and you stood up and somebody was like, hey, brush it off, you're fine, I did that last week, no biggie. Did you feel relieved? Did you feel like, oh God, okay, it's not just me? Well, y'all, this is why I think it is so important to share our stories of struggle, which is why I continue to show up and do this for you guys time and time again. Because there is a huge sense of relief in knowing that you are not the only one who's been through something. There is. I can't tell you how many times I've sat down with my friend Alex and I've told her a story about something that happened to me and she can totally relate. And I'm like, oh my God, it's not just me. Like, whew, I feel so much better. I do. But guys, today isn't about me. So instead of sharing another one of my millions of stories, which I hope that y'all enjoy listening to as much as I love to sometimes recount them, we're going to talk facts and we're going to learn some shit. So I'm going to review some data which I found that will explain just how unalone you really are. So first, let's start by reviewing information that I found via the article Mental Health by Numbers on the National Alliance on Mental Health website, which again, you can find the article in the link in the show notes. They say that millions of people in the U.S. are affected by mental illness each year. It's important to measure how common mental illness is so we can understand its physical, social, and financial impact, and so we can show that no one is alone. These numbers are also powerful tools for raising public awareness, stigma busting, and advocating for better health care. Let's start by listing out their fast facts. So 1 in 5 U.S. adults experience mental illness each year. 1 in 20 U.S. adults experience serious mental illness each year. 1 in 6 youth aged 6 to 17 experience a mental health disorder each year in the United States. 50% of all lifetime mental illness begins by age 14, and 75% of it by age 24. Suicide is the second leading cause of death among people aged 10 to 14. And guys, this stat right here about suicide sincerely breaks my heart. So personally, I blame the internet and the rise of social media sites such as Instagram and TikTok and whatever, but we're not going to get into that right now. Just please know that this is a serious issue that wasn't around when I was aged 10 to 14, less than 2 decades ago, guys. And therefore, it's something that we as a society need to address and fix. But guys, let's go back to the first stat real quick. 1 in 5 U.S. adults experience mental illness each year. So I did a simple Google search and found that there are roughly 339 million people who live in the United States. So 1/5 of that is 66 million. Guys, roughly 66 million people in the United States experience mental illness each year. Take a moment to let that soak in, because we're just talking about the United States right here. We are not talking about all the other 190 whatever countries there are in the world. Just One country. That's a fuck ton of people, y'all. That is a fuck ton of people. But now let's do a little deep dive into some specifics. So in an article I found on the National Institute of Mental Health's website, it said that an estimated 21 million adults in the United States had at least one major depressive episode in 2020. This number represented 8.4% of all U.S. adults. That's a lot. In an article on the Anxiety and Depression Association of America website, it said that anxiety disorders are the most common mental illness in the United States, affecting 40 million adults. That's 19% of the entire population, guys, age 18 and older each year. They go on to say that panic disorder affects 6 million adults, or 2.7% of the population in the U.S. Social anxiety disorder affects 15 million adults, or 7% of the U.S. population. Specific phobias affect 19.3 million adults, or 9% of the U.S. population. Obsessive compulsive disorder, also known as OCD, affects 2.5 million adults, or 1.2% of the population. Post-traumatic stress disorder, also known as PTSD, affects 7.7 million adults, or 3.6% of the U.S. population. In additional articles that I went on to find, they say that 60% of children with ADHD in the United States become adults with ADHD, which is about 4% of the adult population, or 8 million U.S. adults. Body dysmorphic disorder affects 1.7 to 2.4 of the general population, which is roughly 1 in 50 people. Bipolar disorder affects approximately 5.7 million American adults, or about 2.6 of the U.S. population, age 18 and older. 9% of the U.S. population, or 28.8 million Americans, will have an eating disorder at some point in their life. Wow. Okay, so does your brain hurt yet? Because mine definitely does. So I'm one of those weird people that likes math. It's super rare, I know. You can just hate on me now. It's totally fine. And so I decided to add up all of these statistics that I just listed out because I just was curious and let's do some fucking math. And I got a total of 146 million Americans have been affected by one of the above mentioned mental health disorders. And above mentioned being like a few minutes ago above your head. I don't know. I wrote above because I typed this out, but you get what I mean. So if there are roughly 331 million people living in the United States, and roughly 146 of them, if we just added all those numbers up together like I did, have been affected by mental health disorders, y'all, that means that roughly 44% of Americans have been affected by mental health disorders, which is damn near half of the U.S. Damn near half. That's wild. So side note, that is not an accurate statistic, as one person can be affected by more than one mental health disorder. And some of these stats are before 2020, some of them are after. But case in point, basically 1 in 2 people that you meet have been affected by mental health disorders. This is way more common than we think. So you are sure as hell not alone, my friend. You are not alone. Someone out there has gone through or is going through what you're going through. You are not alone. So guys, all of this is to say that no matter what you are going through, I promise you there is someone out there who will understand you. There is someone out there who can help you and say, you know what, this is what I did and it made everything way better. But where do we find these people? That's a great question, my friend. That is a great fucking question. So first of all, if you have a therapist or a psychiatrist, my recommendation is to ask if they know of any support groups that you can go to, especially if you live in a metropolitan area like Houston or New York City or LA or, all those other big cities that are out there that I just don't know off the top of my head and I'm not going to fucking name. But yeah, I was recommended to a support group for bipolar disorder by my therapist. I went once and then the pandemic happened. So that sucks. And to be honest, I haven't gone back because I haven't needed it, but I know it's there and I can go if necessary. I have friends who go to group therapy and things like that. And I've heard that they're super beneficial, and that is something to consider if you really need help and you don't know where to start. Start by asking your psychiatrist or your therapist for some recommendations on some support groups. Another place you can go is Facebook groups. So let's talk about this real quick. So I am a part of a few different Facebook groups that are centered around bipolar disorder and support groups for that. And I've seen a lot of people make posts that are totally relatable, that they ask if anybody else has gone through this. And I am so happy to jump in and say, oh my God, me too. Because it is such a relief to know that these people I haven't met before, strangers on the internet, have been dealing with the same shit. I'm not alone. Fuck. That feels great. So what's also cool is Facebook has a new feature within their groups where you can post things anonymously. So that way, if you want to ask if somebody's been through something, but you really don't want your name attached to your question, you can post it anonymously and still be able to read the comments that come through. So side note, guys, if you choose to join any of the Facebook support groups for whatever you're dealing with, ADHD, depression, anxiety, PTSD, bipolar disorder, please know that you definitely need to read their rules and guidelines before joining their group, because some of these groups are private where only people in them can see what's being posted, and some of them are not. Some of them are public to where you'll post something and everybody who you have as a friend on Facebook can see it. So please do your homework and do the research before you join these groups, because these admins will get your fucking ass. They'll be like, you know what? It says it's public. You should have read the rules. I'm sorry that you didn't. Don't complain to me. I've seen it happen. But just for privacy protections, if you're somebody who doesn't want people to know what you're going through, then do your homework, do your research. Me, I clearly don't give a shit. I'm sitting here for the whole world to know what's going on. So I'm in public groups. I'm in private groups. It doesn't really matter because I'm here to share my story to help others. I'm here to hopefully be met by somebody in one of these groups and they say, oh my God, I can relate to you. Thank you for sharing your story. That's what I'm here for. But guys, let's go ahead and end on this note. Life is hard and shit just sometimes sucks. But no matter how hard things get, life can and will get better. It will. So whatever you've gone through or whatever you're going through right now, please know that you are never alone and that there is always hope on the other side. You might have to go looking for it, but I promise you, hope is there and that you are worthy of finding it and making it to the bright, beautiful side of your life that you have built specially for you. Win of the week. Win of the week. Okay, y'all. So this is a brand new segment that I created for you. Yes, you. This is called Win of the Week. It is a way for all of us together to spread some positivity and share a good thing that happened in life recently. Whether it be that you received a job offer to the company of your dreams, or that you finally gained the energy to shower for the first time in 3 days, No win is too small to celebrate and to share here on Distress to Joyful Bailey's Way. Because here we celebrate all wins equally. We do. Also, guys, this is your personal opportunity for a shout out on the show. Y'all should know by now that I love giving shout outs, and this is your way to get a shout out. You've got, every other week's worth of trying. So today I'm going to go first and give my win of the week since I don't have submissions yet because the website link literally just opened up for y'all. So my win of the week is that I am here recording season 4 with y'all, and that yesterday I got back all of the photos from Daryl from our photo shoot. I was hoping to actually get to record right afterwards in my outfit, but hey, life happens and sometimes you just got to go with the flow. But guys, I'm so pumped. All of these photos are beautiful. I cannot wait to share them all with you. You are already seeing them now if you're listening now because I'm recording this ahead of time like a good girl. But yeah, so my win of the week was getting to see all the photos that came back and just enjoy that time with Monish. We sat down and viewed them together. So beautiful, so fun. Did you have a recent win that you want to share with me? Send in your submissions by heading on over to whatisheybellsdoing.com/win of the week. You can also send in your submissions to my DMs on Instagram at Distress to Joyful Bailey's Way, or send an email to whatisheybellsdoing@gmail.com. 3 ways to send in your wins. Send them in so I can celebrate you here. I want to celebrate with you. So next time, we are going to discuss bipolar disorder and sensory overload, also known as hypersensitivity. Guys, I've been living with bipolar disorder for over a decade, and I've just now learned why I'm sometimes super sensitive to certain noises, smells, loud sounds, and occasionally touch. And why sometimes the exact same thing can occur, and it has zero effect on me. So I'm actually really excited to share all of my research with you and discuss the correlation between bipolar disorder and hypersensitivity. So be sure to tune in as I may have some answers that you didn't even know you were searching for. Wink, wink. So thank you for tuning into the show. Be sure to follow the show on Instagram and Facebook at Distress2Joyful_Bailey's Way. If you enjoyed this podcast, please help spread the word by leaving a rating or writing a review on Apple Podcasts. Remember, I want to hear from you. Lastly, don't forget to hit the cute little subscribe button to stay up to date with all of the new episode releases. But until next time, take it easy, stay grateful, and be joyful. Bye!